is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Morning sunshine, TGIM. Sorry, I had to run and get like something to cover up my top because what you'll see, do you see how the light changes? When it's just my top primarily, everything turns pink. So I had to cover it up with a jacket. How are y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Is anybody else getting shut up and drive, shut up and drive from my hair to Anyway, it is so nice to see you guys. I hope you had a great weekend. Good morning, Jaleesa. Foxy, it is nice to see you again. We've missed you, our lovely girl. I love your new photo too. That is so beautiful. Good morning, Ramster. Good morning, Allie, Houston Rose, Boss Lady, Venetia, Ronnie, Cynthia, Leanne, Jessica, Kahara, AD, Rayleigh, Michelle. Oh my God, Holly's here too. It is so nice to see y'all. Cynthia, I see you're caught up, hopefully now with the time difference, because on Friday she was telling me it's been difficult. One more week, 6 more days to be exact, until I spring back and we're back to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Boss Lady, I hope everything's going well for you with your job. Good morning, Grace, Allie, my YouTube bestie, and all co-reporters. I'm in exam. Wow. Okay, good luck on your exam. It is so nice to have you here. Wow. Jaleesa had a comment about Tamar right off the bat. So you guys, we're going to talk about how Tamar missed her sister Towanda's wedding. But the thing is, we don't know if she just didn't show up or if she was not invited by Towanda herself. So stay tuned for that. Ramster is at the dentist. Have a great dental appointment. That makes me laugh just because we had another person who was, I'm wondering who it was. I have her image in my head, but not her name. But she was at the dentist with her kids and everything too. So it's like, oh, look, y'all bring me to the dentist. I love that. Hasta mañana. Have a great appointment. You guys, we got so much to talk about in today's morning report. J.LO is apparently looking to date again. I said, girl, please rest. You don't have to date. It is not your full-time job. Rest. I actually do have a brief update about Kale from Teen Mom, by the way. Y'all know last time we spoke about her, there was a huge scandal that broke. A lady on TikTok said that her latest baby daddy, Elijah, has been cheating on her, that Elijah cheated on her with the girl on TikTok. Her name was Britt or something like that. And Britt showed all these videos of Elijah and his brother hanging out with her and whatnot. I got an update on that. She did just film a new episode of the Coffee Convos podcast. And like, she's back from the vacay. That's what she says in the episode, but she doesn't address the scandal at all. So let's talk about what else was going on there. Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers, you guys. There are all sorts of scandals and allegations coming out about him. Dr. Cheyenne, we have to talk about this fraud. And I told y'all 3 years ago she was a fraud. And if you guys go back and look at the comments in the video that I initially did telling y'all that this girl is not a real doctor. People were like, oh, Grace, you're hating on her. No, I'm telling you, she is not a real doctor. And you see some of that in the way that she treated Offset very, very recently. So let's get into all of that and more. By the way, you guys, if at any point you find yourself enjoying the morning report, perhaps even cracking a smile, do not hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel so that YouTube knows that you enjoy this show and you want to continue seeing it. Why don't we start off with the Kale story, okay? Real quickly before I forget. It's just a little bit of a footnote, but I was listening to her Coffee Convos podcast this morning, and she said that she just got back from her vacation to Turks and Caicos. Again, she does not mention the cheating scandal at all. She and Lindsay only talk about the Koberger, what is it? Brian Koberger, red rum scandal and whatnot. And they do a lot of victim blaming in their discussion there about what happened. And that's pretty much it there, to be honest. I was kind of like, okay, girl, listen, with all of the life choices you're making, I don't think that you are one who can sit up there and judge people for what they did or didn't do in a moment of panic. You thankfully have not been in that situation where people are being deleted like around you in a home and you feel trapped and you don't know what to do, right? It's so easy to sit there and say, oh, I would do this, that, and the other if I were in that situation. But honestly, we realistically do not know what we would do if we were in that situation. And someone who makes life decisions the way that you make life decisions, for example, getting knocked up by this Elijah guy that you don't even know on the first night when you've got like 4 other children to be worrying about, you're not exactly the person that people are looking to for advice on how to handle very important, very dire situation in life. So why don't you chill out for a little bit, okay? I found that to be, very uncomfortable to listen to. That's why, and I talk about this a little bit here on my channel, that I don't really care for true crime podcasts or things like that, because just the way that they speak about victims, I there's just something about it that just does not sit right with me, especially when they have things called like, oh, my favorite red rum. Like, these are real people, they had real families, real loved ones, and you're talking about, oh, this is my favorite one. Ooh, that is so gruesome. Like, not cool, not cool. Star is off to Miami. Ooh, hot girl things. I was about to ask how you were doing. I am glad that you were taking care of you. You were going on a vacation in a nice, hot and gorgeous location. I hope you have the time of your life, Star. Have a great time, okay? And please come back with an update when you're back from your vacation. Now, you guys, we're going to get into Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers. So do y'all watch this show at all? Like, I used to love this show. I watched this show with my brothers and my sister. Anytime I'm on TikTok and there's an Impractical Jokers video, I do not skip. Like, I really like these guys. I find them to be incredibly funny. So when the news broke that there were 2 women who were accusing Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers of SA and S harassment, for some reason, I gotta be honest with you guys, I said, you know what? I'm not surprised. Like, some people, you just look at them and you go, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if someone came out with allegations about you. And I cannot pinpoint what it is, whether it's the hair or the shifty eyes or something like that. I cannot pinpoint what it is that makes me not surprised about this information. But I'm not surprised. I don't know about you guys. Let me know. Let me know in the live chat if you're watching live, or if you're part of my playback posse. This is a mic check. Let me know in the comment section. Are you surprised about these allegations coming out about Joe Gatto? Anyway, one of the girls who's making these allegations against him, hers are particularly disturbing because she said that she first met him when she was only 15 years old, aka a minor, right? But when she turned 18 years old, that's when his behavior towards her changed, as if he had a countdown for when she became quote unquote legal, fair game, right? So she said, as soon as she turned 18, his behavior towards her became much more flirtatious. He would be asking her for back massages, invite her to his room to cuddle, allegedly ask frequent questions about her ex-life, all sorts of things. So I think this is a case of like, maybe a family friend situation. Then she went to like work for him or intern, and and then it just evolved into this sort of like a sick, weird sort of a situation, allegedly, right? Because none of this has been proven, right? These are just allegations as of yet. Star says he's a male, automatically not surprised. Honestly, it's just so disappointing. What is the saying? Not all men, but somehow always a man is the saying. And I just find it to be so disappointing, right? In this world, like, I really, 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 really wish that the world were better and that these stories were not so frequent. And speaking of these frequent, shocking stories, I have to warn you guys in advance that we're going to talk about that OnlyFans model, Maria, and what happened to her in Dubai. Oh my God. When I first saw this story on TikTok, I thought that this was like someone just like talking, I thought this was like one of those, like, I don't know, like, it's just so unbelievable what happened to her. And it's just so unfathomable that I was like, oh no, there's no way this could be real. Maybe these are rumors and they've exaggerated something that happened. But like, now these claims are being confirmed. This stuff did happen to her, and it's absolutely terrifying. Leanne says, I've not heard about Joe yet. Come on, guys. It's not hard to not be an SAR, right? Like, what the heck? What the actual heck is happening? My God. Gwen is praying for some normalcy in her country. Listen, Aren't we all? I feel like something happened to us all collectively in 2020, and we have been in purgatory ever since. I'm hoping someone opens up the trap door and frees us soon. AD says, I used to watch it frequently too. I used to like when they did pranks on the Fairway supermarket in NY, because did you ever see them doing the pranks? Like you got to meet them in person, AD, because it is true. Their supermarket pranks were so good as well. I love them all. I really, really did. So I am rather disappointed about these allegations. However, again, I'm not surprised. Maybe, it's just we hear it so often and we really cannot put anything past anybody at this point, right? I am mom now. Hello, congratulations. I honestly went to sleep last night watching YT shorts of Impractical Jokers. Oh no, that's disgusting, right? It's so easy to watch their content. It's just like a quick, simple laugh, whether it's in shorts, whether it's in TikToks. So now hearing that things have allegedly gone to this point or were happening like this in the background, absolutely disgusting. Ali says we're becoming desensitized to these allegations because sadly there have been so many. Exactly, right? And I think this all goes back to Star, where it's like, listen, can't be surprised, like for some reason, it's just, again, not all men, but somehow always a man. And it's just so damn sad. It really, really is. Best of luck to these women who are out here sharing their stories. And I hope that whatever they need to heal is given to them moving forward. I know that Joe sort of acknowledged them. He said that they were lying. However, he also did acknowledge like some level of inappropriateness. So to me, when you're already over there saying, okay, you know what, they're exaggerating, but I did do some things that I shouldn't have done, I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I believe them 100%. Remember, Diddy said that Cassie was lying on him. And then that video came out. He said, oh, well, I was going through a hard time. Like you've never chased a woman down a hallway, beat her, kicked her, and thrown a vase at her head when you were going through things. God forbid a man have hobbies, so I believe that, girl. I really, really do. Well, actually, both of them. Let's get into this girl, Dr. Cheyenne. Do y'all remember her from the Teen Mom universe? I think they first introduced her to us during Teen Mom Family Reunion. And I gotta tell you guys, I have just never, ever, ever, ever really cared for this girl. Something about her just seemed so shady to me, so shifty to me. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw I posted a link. You know what? I'll have to do that in the comment section for this video as well. But I posted a link to a video that I did 3 years ago when she was counseling people on Teen Mom Family Reunion about how, her qualifications, like they're not really lining up to doctor. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out here on social media and on television who are calling themselves doctors, but have not earned the title of a doctor. And in my opinion, Cheyenne is one of them. So she goes on these things, these shows, counseling people under the guise of being a doctor. Yet the qualifications are not adding up. And I find that to be very weird. I find that to be very unethical. And because she is not qualified as a doctor, she moves as someone who is not qualified as a doctor. Right? A fraud. Because if you were a doctor, you would know that certain things you cannot do, right? When you're dealing with people's lives, when you are dealing with people's mental health. So y'all know about Offset, right? He is Cardi B's baby daddy. He's part of Migos. How beautiful is this outfit that she's wearing, by the way? The hair, the veil over her, everything is just absolutely stunning, right? So he and Cardi B, they've been in a relationship for a very long time, like 8 years or so. They've got 2 children together. They've been filing for divorce on and off for years. And then Offset slid into Dr. Cheyenne's DMs, right? And she portrayed it as if he was trying to get with her or something like that. And then Offset, he released the DMs. He said, no, sis, I wasn't trying to get with you. I was trying to have you counsel me. You are a doctor, aren't you? So here's the proof of his DMs to her, where he's saying, hey, like let me zoom in. I don't have my glasses on. I'm not even diagnosed with any eye issues. I'm just saying that. But can we have a convo? Professional. As in a professional conversation. This is Dr. Cheyenne. She is supposed to be a life coach or some kind of a psychologist, right? So that is why he's asking her. And then she turned around and said that this man was trying to get with her. And that's why he had to release this information. How weird is that? Again, this is what happens when people who do not have the qualifications that they're trying to convince you that they have get clout. They get addicted to it and they want more. And they do things like this that are completely, wholly, and utterly inappropriate. Mind you, look at this woman. She says that she is, you know, how she's got Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Doctor of what? Typically, they say that they are a doctor of, for example, she says she's a psychology expert. What is a psychology expert? Are you a doctor of psychology? Are you a doctor of pharmacy? Are you an MD? Like, what are you, right? She just said she's a psychology expert. What is that? Life coach, talk show host, producer, whatever. But there's nothing about what sort of a doctor this woman is. And then when we get into the school where she claims that she got this alleged doctorate of hers, it was called Argosy University. And guess what? It got shut down because it was a scam. They were stealing children's money. It was a for-profit university it was a diploma mill that was stealing students' money and then got shut down. So that, like, you know what? Let me say this in my Killmonger voice. Is this your doctor? Absolutely freaking not. You know, and I wish that they did some proper vetting on this woman before they let her onto these shows to deal with people's mental health. Because again, the qualifications are just not there for the level of care that she is trying to administer to people. If you are a life coach, then go ahead and say you're a life coach. You know, that's something that's completely different. Doesn't seem to be all that regulated, mind you, right? Nothing wrong with them, but doesn't seem to be all that regulated. They play by a different set of rules. And so that makes more sense, her acting this way, right? But then when you say you're a doctor and you put out potential patients' information, people go, wait a minute, is that not a HIPAA violation? Because if she were a real doctor, it would be a HIPAA violation. However, she's not. So to her, this is perfectly normal, right? And then after Offset cleared his name and said, oh, I wasn't trying to get with you. I was trying to have a professional conversation with you. Aren't you like a doctor? Aren't you like a life coach? Aren't you like some kind of a psychologist? What does she do? She does an interview with Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked. Shout out to the Jasmine brand. I've got the video. I'm going to play it for you guys. And she just trash talks Offset. She said he's a deadbeat. Cardi B should have never gotten with him. And again, aren't you a doctor? This man was trying to talk to you about some sort of mental health counseling, some sort of life coaching. And you not only pretend that he's trying to holler at you, AKA trying to get with you, you want to go on and talk crap about him next and bash him. Like, that is so scary. Can you imagine you as a person? Maybe you've done some bad things, made some poor decisions in your life, and you reach out to someone who is purported to be some sort of a psychologist, life coach, and then they expose you. They lie about your motive. They expose you, and then they go on an online show and just say that you are this awful, terrible person. Take a look at the video, and then we'll talk more about it on the flip side, okay?
Offset came in my DMs.
To ask for a therapy session. Okay,
and that's why I want to give him his props.
And give it up for Offset, yes, looking for help.
Yes. I'm going to well, you see how I slid that out there?
Thank you.
I knew I was going to get you. But he slid in my DMs and asked for a session.
Spare my girl. Go ahead. Don't spare. Just speak truth to power.
No, I was just saying I think Cardi B is a beautiful woman, right? And
Very
I believe
gorgeous.
she went into it choosing to have a husband and family, which is what she created.
Yes.
Cardi came in and said, I'm creating a family. I have no kids. I'm with Offset. You're my husband. We're having these babies. Offset came in already a baby daddy. She chose a man who already produced baby mamas, broken families, broken homes. She chose him. That's why we can't really blame him. And then he came and gave her what she chose from the beginning of when she chose the man. A womanizer and a baby daddy. She chose that.
Men are also
Listen,
convincing. Will tell you that they're changing. Oh, I'm changed.
No.
I'm going to change for you.
Let me say this. If a man is going to change, is if you do like Cardi and many other women have done,
Give him a chance.
choose the man to see if he's going to change. And I'm here to tell you, and I don't care what man wants to challenge me on it, baby, please challenge me, that a man is going to be the man that you chose him at the place that you chose him at.
So there you go. Again, all of this because that man reached out to her to see some, if he can get some sort of counseling or professional advice from her. It's insane. What is this vendetta that she has against him? Is everything she's saying about Offset true? Sure, maybe. I don't think he's a great guy. I think the way he treated Cardi B is absolutely atrocious. I think, that, yeah, he seems to be an irresponsible person, like he cheats so much, right? But this just feels very, 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 very unethical for someone who is portraying themselves as a doctor, aka as a safe place, right? April says, wow, psychology expert. Kate says, these fake therapists all over reality TV are the worst. They make therapy look like a joke, right? Like, this stuff is serious. You are playing with people's lives. You are playing with people's mental health. And I agree with you, Allie. You know, I don't see anything on her thing that says she's a doctor of psychology. You know, she might just be a fan of psychology who, again, got her degree from a school that got shut down for scamming students. Lou says she's a doctor like Porsha's a journalist. Oh, okay. Exactly. You know, I wish, this is her school, by the way. I wish that these shows were properly vetting these people, because there's no reason, in my opinion, that people can be tasked with handling with people's mental health when they are not qualified at all. You know, and Kahara, I agree with a lot of things she's saying, but I don't think it's ethical for her in particular to be saying them on a public platform, you know, in response to somebody reaching out to her for help, you know, especially after she misrepresented in the first place the reason why this person even reached out to her. I'm sorry, but it's weirdo behavior. It is giving weirdo. So if any of y'all dragged me 3 years ago, I'm holding that grudge and I'm ready for my damn apology. I told y'all she was a fraud. I told y'all. So even if you see the comment section of like this video, for example, people are saying, isn't that supposed to be a confidential session? Why would you share his personal business like that? Other people are saying, even if it was edited, she didn't need to bring up a potential client's information. This is just a disturbing way to advertise your business. You know, honestly, be careful, think long and hard if you're going to go to this doctor. And what is her doctor in? Her doctorate is in psychology expert. So, you know, think long and hard before visiting this girl for mental health services or life coaching. Now, isn't she on Basketball Wives too? I thought, okay, Basketball Wives. Okay, girl. Okay. Whatever you got to do to get on screen, whatever you got to do, girl. Now let's get into the Towanda Braxton of it all. So she actually just got married to her husband. Now I can say her husband, right? Sean Hall. Shout out to the Jasmine brand for this exclusive. They got married and their ceremony just took place on Saturday, March 22nd. Her sisters, Tony and Trina, were her bridesmaids, and her other sister, Tamar, did not show up to the wedding at all. And I don't think this is going to be really surprising to people who watch their show, just because she and Tamar have been at odds pretty much since season 2 of the show, right? And to be honest with you, at first when they started, you know, their feud, I thought that Towanda was just jealous of Tamar becoming the breakout star of the show. However, the more that I see the way that Tamar operates, the more that I see that, you know what, it probably had something to do with Tamar and her mouth. Tamar, I think she has some sort of undiagnosed problem that causes her to just burn bridges with people, to just fight with everybody. And, you know, it's typically her picking a fight with people, but you know, again, just very, very sad, the sisterhood that these people have. They're so lucky to have to be a sisterhood of 5, you know. Unfortunately, their sister Tracy passed away a few years ago. However, just the fact to have so many sisters, I feel like is such a lucky thing. And just to see the way that their sisterhood has gone down the drain since season 1 of this show. In fact, I got to be honest, I can't even blame it on the show, because one thing that they did say that was rather weird was that, wasn't it Tracy or was it Trina? One of them said that like none of the sisters had ever been to her house before filming. And I was like, really? Like your sister's never even been here? Oh, okay. That's weird. There was always something going on with these girls. It's rather unfortunate, but I do think it was exacerbated by the show and whatnot, because that's what producers do, right? They see fights and conflict and they need to amplify them for the show, because that is what people want to see. People want to see drama. People want to see hatred. People want to see screaming. People want to see tables being tossed and whatnot, right? So I do think that they already started off a really bad place, but it got amplified by the show. So anyway, back to the wedding. There were quite a few celebrities in attendance, including Coco Brown, Lawrence Robinson, Ryan Cameron, Escape singer Tamika Scott, Claudia Jordan, Mimi Faust, and more. So congratulations to you, Towanda, on your wedding. Like, you know what? They seem to be a very beautiful, happy couple. And so, yeah, it is unfortunate that her sister, Tamar, was not present. However, it seemed to be like a really beautiful ceremony and relationship nonetheless. So I'm wishing them a long and happy and fruitful marriage nonetheless. Now, you guys, here's someone else with a lot of drama attached to her name, right? Why don't we get into Nene Leakes from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, or should I say formerly of the Real Housewives of Atlanta? By the way, can I just say, Theo, if you're watching this in the playback posse, I gotta tell you, it feels so weird doing a morning report without Theo. Theo has been here since like episode 1 of the morning report. So, and he's still not here for this episode. I think this is like the first episode that Theo has ever missed in over like 40 episodes of the morning report. So shout out to you, Theo. We're missing you today. We really are. So back to Nene, you guys. Nene is now kind of campaigning to get back onto the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Listen, the fans loved her on the show and want to see her back. Other Bravo celebrities, other housewives want to see her back on the show. However, even though Nene is letting them know that the door is open, she's willing to negotiate on her end, I don't think it's going to happen. Right after the lawsuit that she filed against Bravo, after the lawsuit she filed against Andy Cohen. Do y'all remember her crying in the lobby of hotels for her Tamron Hall interviews and whatnot? Like, she really, really let it be known that she was done. She said they were racist. All these like things, these very, very inflammatory statements that can also be seen as defamatory as well. So how do you walk those sorts of claims back? How do you explain that you want to go back and work for these people after you make such massive, massive, massive allegations against them, right? So she said that if RHOA were to call, she would answer, but I don't know. I don't know that they would call in the first place, right? I think that at this point, they probably are kind of like just ready to move on from her, right? They've got Phaedra back. I know Phaedra had some scandal attached to her name. However, Phaedra did not burn bridges with production or anything like that. She did make a few shady comments about RHOA, but she didn't go to the extent or to the length that Nene Leakes went when she left the show. It's unfortunate because I would love to see Nene back, especially in this new phase in her life, seeing how she's adjusting to life as a widow. Her son is going through massive health issues and whatnot. So I would have loved to see how she's handling things now. But I don't see it happening. I've got to be really honest with you guys. By the way, I saw some of you guys' comments for Theo, so I thought it was so sweet. Theo, hopefully you get to see this. We miss you, Theo. We miss you. Ali says, hopefully they bring Nene back. AC says that she burnt that bridge, right? I think so too, unfortunately. Hey, Milan says they are rumbling that she's going to be on Traitors. And so if she's on Traitors, maybe it's a little bit of a stepping stone. Listen, I would love to see them, even if they did some negotiations where she would have to publicly retract some of the statements that she made in order for them to put her back on the show. Do you guys think that would be fair? Like just something to get her back on the show, because I understand them not wanting her after those massive, massive allegations she made. And I think that, hey, if she were willing to publicly retract her statements or say that they've come to an agreement or that, they're doing something to work on certain issues that they have, that could be good. That could be a good starting jump off point, right? AC says the ratings will go through the roof if she were asked back. I agree. I think a lot of people, Theo's here. Theo, we were just talking about you. Nice to see you. Okay, you guys, Theo is back. Yeah. And I agree with you, AC, that the ratings would be through the roof if she were to come back, especially because she's got so much going on. And I know people don't like this at all, but I got to be honest. I want to see Wig Zolciak too. I want to see her on the show too. I loved her in season 1 of the show with her cigarettes, her wine, her trying to sing, her trying to spell cat, her big papa and everything. And now she probably needs to get a new one. She has been hinting at having some sort of a new boyfriend and whatnot. I want to know what she's got going on in her life. I want to know what the 2 OGs, the 2 pillars of the show, the original pillars of the show have got going on, you guys, at this point. And how they would be together, because there was a point where they were so arrogant. Kim, especially because she got married to a football player, right? And then Nene, because she had the new normal. She had Glee. But now that they don't have those things that made them so arrogant, I want to see what the transformation is like after, you kind of fall on your behind, right? Jaleesa says, as someone with all sisters, I don't understand why they're like this. We literally all went out for pizza last night. Exactly, right? Having sisters is amazing. So to see the way that they just squander their sisterhood is rather sad. I do agree with AD that Nene wants the money. Does she still have her boutique and her Lenithia lounge, by the way, you guys? Are those things doing well? Stephanie says, damn if you do, damn if you don't say anything. I agree with that. I do, unfortunately. Kira says they need Nene, though. The show hasn't been the same without her. Bring Nene. Yeah, okay, Kira's on my side. Bring Wig back, too. We want to see the two of them together. Sorry to the Wig Zolciak haters, but she is good television. She is such great drama. Pumpkin says she got to move on, though. She's got to move on. Theo says, I was listening to Humble Brag podcast and lost track of time. Ah, there you were. That's such a good podcast, isn't it? I really enjoy it. I never would have imagined Cynthia and Crystal as a pair because I didn't even know they knew each other, but they're a really, really good pair. Izzy says, nope, Kim doesn't need to come back. She didn't want to be around the black lady, so Kim can stay where she is. But the way they dragged her at that reunion was so damn delicious. But I think you're right. Okay, fine. I'm going to put her down. Houston Rose says, Kim Z, nope, she definitely needs to catch a new one. All right, fine. I guess y'all don't want Wig Z on the show. Okay, fine. Listen, if you guys don't want her, then I don't want her. How about that? You guys, I have this random story I wanted to tell you. I don't know if any of you guys have done 23andMe testing or anything like that, but if you have, and I know there have already been security concerns in regards to what happens to your data when you participate or do a test with them. But I just heard that they filed for bankruptcy protection, you guys. Their CEO has stepped down, you guys. They released, why do I always say this? They put out a press release, and in it, they say that there are no changes on the way to the company stores, managers, or protections to customer data. The Attorney General, by the way, in California issued a consumer alert advising 23andMe customers to delete their data from the website given the company's reported financial distress. Because listen, y'all never know what they're going to do with your data, especially when they're this desperate for money and they are facing bankruptcy. So if you have any sort of an account, any sort of information with 23andMe, now is your time to delete it as quickly as possible. They have already had issues with data breaches and privacy issues as recently as in 2023. And I think it's only going to get worse now that they officially do not have anything left to lose. So go ahead, please, please, please delete your data if you've done any sort of DNA testing with 23andMe. In fact, my friend Julie, if you're watching this, I have my bestie, she watches the morning report. If you're watching this, because I know she did 23andMe, please delete your data. Note to self, Grace, message her to delete her data from this. It's so crazy to me how this company had a valuation as high as $6 billion. And they've had billions of dollars funneled into them by investors and whatnot. And they went public and everything, yet they've never, ever, ever been profitable. Just, corporate finance is so fascinating to me. How the heck are these companies able to rack up so much money while not being profitable? Even YouTube for a while was like that. There have been so many companies, that are just not profitable, yet they're huge. Even Twitter struggled to be profitable, right? By the way, break the cycle. And I saw someone else complimenting me earlier too. Summer Breeze, thank y'all so much for your compliments on my hair. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ali says mine has been deleted from that site. Good, good, good. I'm so happy. That stuff is really scary. And I can't talk because I let Apple scan my face, and my thumbprint and stuff. But it is really scary, the amount of information and details that these companies can have from you as far as bio data is concerned. Gwen says my auntie did her DNA test just to confirm our Mayflower status. I wish she would have listened to me about that mess. Ooh, and I get the curiosity. I get it, but it's such a big risk. Houston Rose says, or I should say Acacia says, I knew it. That's why I still haven't done a DNA. And you know what? Good for you. Me too. I'm curious. I feel like I'm 100%, but you never know. Maybe you have some small percentages somewhere else. And I would be interested to know, but I'm just not willing to give out my data like that. And yeah, Jaleesa, they're bankrupt. They're desperate. They might sell your data to make some of that money back. So delete it. Listen, I'm glad you got your results, but you're going to need to delete whatever you can from their website at this point. The Attorney General is warning you guys. Hey, Farah, I was thinking about you earlier. I was like, oh my God, what's her channel? I wanted to check her out. Hey, Farah, nice to see you. Hope you're having a great Monday. Theo says Spotify and Netflix aren't profitable either. So what is the deal with these things? How are they making so much money and stuff, in terms of like investors and whatnot, like going public if they are not profitable? Like, I need ChatGPT to explain it to me like I'm 5. Please. Leanne says, I was gifted a 23andMe DNA test for my birthday last year and have not sent it in. Never will. Good for you. Thank God. Jenny Jones says, nothing's deleted. You already gave them data and the biomatter for that. Oh, Lord. It's scary. It really is. And I think you're right, unfortunately. And there have been so many companies who actually got caught with this, where they'll say like you can delete your, even if it's not bio data, but just like your data, like your cookies, your habits, whatever, from their websites or their platforms. And then they're never actually doing it. They convince you that they did, but they've never actually done it. So be very careful, you guys, about, what companies you use, participate in, and whatnot, because it's really, really tricky stuff out there. You guys, we're going to take a quick break so I could fill up my water. But on the flip side, guess what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about J.LO, her getting back into the dating game for whatever reason. We've got Kendra Wilkinson talking about the trauma that she experienced from her time with Hugh Hefner. We're also going to talk about the OnlyFans model who was found with a broken spine, broken legs, broken arms, just left for DEAD on the side of the road in Dubai. We're also going to talk about Porsha cozying up to a woman that her supposed best friend, Shamia, says spoke crap about her disabled daughter. Very weird. And then Towanda Braxton. We're going to finish off on a high note. Towanda Braxton's son, Denim, just earned his university degree. So we're going to finish off with that as well, okay? Per usual, if you're enjoying the morning report, please don't hesitate to support my channel by giving it a thumbs up. And I'll catch you on the flip side after a little water break. The morning report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than RHOA. RHOA is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven age prevention benefits such as average 14% wrinkle reduction after 4 weeks of use. Click the link below and receive 30% off your first purchase today. Woo, but we're back. Good morning, JJ Music Lover, and good morning to everybody else who is joining us for this morning report. It is so nice to have y'all here. Okay, we got to get into the J.LO story. Listen, I like J.LO. I did not want to fall, and I did not fall for the J.LO hate campaign, right? Like, I think she's a beautiful girl. I think she's a fabulous dancer. I admire anybody who keeps up with their health and fitness, like for life. She looks absolutely amazing. Like at her age, she looks better than a lot of, 20, 30-year-olds. Okay. So I love that. And I admire that. Right. So let me just Let me just pave the road, the yellow brick road, before I get into this story, because I don't want people to think I'm hating on her. But the only thing about her is that she's just too much when it comes to relationships. She dives all the way in. She wants to get married to everybody. And it's just too much. I was really hoping that she would take more time to herself after her latest divorce. However, sources close to In Touch magazine, sources close to J.LO are telling In Touch magazine that she's dating again, you guys. Yup. And they're trying to convince us that she's taking things slow, that she's learned her lesson, this, that, and the other. She knows she falls too quickly, blah, blah. But I do not think that that's true. I think that J.LO is going to repeat the same cycle, the same pattern. And I think that, you know what? And I might even place a bet on this. Do not be surprised if we find out at some point next year the woman is engaged again to somebody new. I think, she might reveal this person later on in the year. So let's say October, November. And then at a certain point next year, I wouldn't be surprised if she were engaged yet again. Okay. So this source claims, and I quote, that J.Lo was trying to make sure that her next relationship is ego-free on her part too, and that it comes from a place of honesty and integrity. And more importantly, she says she needs to trust her instincts. She's no longer going to ignore the red flags. I don't know. At this point, if this has been your pattern of behavior for like 50 years, I don't know that you suddenly are able to crack the code. I think that unfortunately, that's just the way you are. I think that, you like she said in her biopic or whatever that thing was, that she's just a lover of love. She gets whisked up or whatever, wrapped up really quickly in relationships. And I think a lot of this stems from whatever childhood wounds she needs to heal. And until she heals those things, she's going to keep finding herself in the same position, right? X says, J.Lo really infuriates me after she didn't bring her makeup artist home. Oh, I heard that story about the makeup artist that she and Kylie Jenner and other celebrities use passing away. I don't know the details of it, but that was a really, really sad and shocking story again, because the makeup artist seems so young, vibrant, full of life. I still don't understand exactly what happened. Can you let us know what exactly happened in that situation, how the makeup artist passed away? Was J.Lo responsible for bringing him back? I know that Kylie is paying for the funeral, which is wonderful, but I'm a little bit more curious about the J.Lo side. Good morning, AG. Sloopy's here. Good morning, Sloopy. Nice to see you. Ali says, does J.Lo discriminate against Virgos? What, does she never date Virgos? Maybe listen, Virgo men they're a handful. They're a lot to deal with. Y'all know me. Typically, I steer away from Gemini men at 100% rate, but now it's 99% rate. And then Virgo men, I've tried it twice, and both times, it was not for the faint of heart. So if she discriminates against Virgos, I don't know that I can fault her for it. I don't know if I can fault her for it. Gwen says she sounds evangelical. What does that mean? What does that mean? Thank you, Stephanie. That is so nice of you. Thank you. Gwen says J.Lo needs to go to therapy. I agree, and she did some cosplay therapy in her biopic, but you never actually hear about her actually full-blown really committing to a process or whatever, right? X says if she was in a different team tax bracket, she would be a teen mom. Damn, y'all really are not feeling J.Lo. Damn. Steph says J.Lo doesn't want to die alone. It must be that. If not, I don't know. Right. And I think she's trying to find a love, not to get all pseudo psychiatrist or whatever. I think it's maybe a love that's missing in herself. Maybe it's a love that she was missing from her parents or something like that. And that's something that she needs to heal if she wants to find it on the outside. Because you know what, it's like what people say, that life is just this echo chamber, this big illusion. It's all just in your head. And there are certain things that you need to resolve within yourself, crack the code on within yourself if you want to flourish in that area of your life outside of yourself. Because at the end of the day, people are just mirrors of you and whatnot. And so I really hope that she is able to go down that route. You know what I think J.Lo would benefit from, to be honest with you guys? I think J.Lo could benefit from an ayahuasca trip or a shroom trip or something like that, to get to the bottom of what really is her issue here, and I think she could actually get a really, really, really good breakthrough if she were to go on that sort of a journey and to really, truly look for the answers to these questions and be open to receiving and learning and adapting based on the information that she receives. X says they got sick. That's all I really know, and died suddenly. And then Kylie ended up doing what J.Lo wouldn't. Oh, that is so sad. Oh, I've heard a lot of bad things about J.Lo and how she can be cheap or how she's not great to her staff and whatnot. And so it's disappointing. It really, really is. Shem. Hey, Shem. I think J.Lo just loves love. Exactly. And I think that when it turns from love, just simple, floating love in the air to just, you got to work for this love a little bit, it gets boring to her. And so, you know what? Good luck to her. Good luck, J.Lo. Good luck. I hope that this works out for her. But to be honest with you, until she figures out what really is the problem within herself, I don't think it will. You guys, let's get into the Kendra Wilkinson story real quick. Because listen, it's going to turn my stomach a little bit because trigger warning. We're going to talk about these young girls, 18, 19, 20 years old, boning this, this like 70, 80-year-old man and how traumatic it was for her. I'm not surprised that this is what she's dealing with, because again, it was not normal what was going on in there in the Playboy Mansion. I'm still so disturbed for these young girls that their parents even allowed them to go over there and accepted it. It's all really disturbing. Did you guys used to watch that reality show, The Girls Next Door? Y'all know my parents were really strict about what we were allowed to watch. So I was not allowed to watch the show. However, I would sneak to watch it. When everyone would fall asleep, I'd be like, what are these girls talking about? And I always found it to be just so damn weird. So in an interview with Amy and TJ Holmes, you remember those like outcasted morning news anchors or whatever who had that affair? Well, she was talking to them on their podcast. And she says that she still struggles to this day with her relationships and her views on X because of the relationship that she had with Hugh Hefner when she was 18 years old and he was 78 years old at the time. It's so disturbing to me. How do you, as a 78-year-old, look at an 18-year-old and say, wow, I am attracted to this. I want to date this. I want to hook up with this. Like, just the lack of morality on your part to even do something like that. Okay, maybe it's technically legal, but it's still very disgusting. It's truly, truly disturbing and disgusting. It is, you know? And so I'm not surprised that she's got some residual trauma from this. So TJ pointed out that because she was only a teenager at that point, it makes sense that like this being her first exposure to a relationship would put her down like a certain dark path, you know? And so TJ asked her, what did that do to you? How did it shape what you thought a relationship was or should be and the type of person you were interested in? And then Kendra said that I had to go through a lot of therapy, and they looked at me and they're like, this is the first time I'm admitting this, but they're like, you might have a little bit of an X problem. You have a little bit of a problem when it comes to thinking of X. I had to go through a lot of therapy, and I'm still working on it day by day, but it's just unhealthy thoughts, like just not really settling for like what a marriage and stuff like that. So just in general, her thoughts on marriage, her thoughts on X and all of that have been perverted by the quote unquote relationship that she had as an 18-year-old, a teenager, with a man who was about 80 years old. And again, very, very sick, very, very, very disturbing, very scary that anybody around them could stand for this, as an 18-year-old. And I remember watching, do you guys ever like watching the E! True Hollywood Story? I used to be addicted to that stuff. And so I remember watching her version of it. And she said that her home life and stuff was very difficult and whatnot. And so she wanted an escape from all the chaos. So she ran away to this. But I just feel like nothing in the world is worth this. I think rooming with like 5 of your friends, working at like McDonald's or something is a lot better than living like this. This was just so disturbing. And then when her mom and her parents found out about it, they were like, okay, whatever, And I find that to be very disturbing. Like, my parents would have beat my ass. How did her parents just accept this? Very, very weird stuff. Boss Lady used to watch the E! True Hollywood Story. It was something, wasn't it? I thought it was, not E! True Hollywood Story, The Girls Next Door. It was so bizarre. All the little like throuple dates and this and that. It was so weird. It's like this grandpa watching his teenage or, early 20s, like granddaughters or something, just very creepy for perverted vibes. AG says, I thought it was kind of normal at a young age, but now that I'm older, I'm like, oh no, that is right. The things that like, and for us, it's like, okay, like our brains are different. They're not fully there at these ages, but there were people who were grown. Like there were people who were like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who saw all of this and facilitated it and thought it was just normal. It's so bizarre. It really, really is. And I hate that this was ever even put on television as like a normal thing for people, right? Right? This everything. Why? How? All of this because you wanted to make money or to become famous or to be featured in this magazine. It is just too damn much. I feel like people need to have limits at a certain point. Milan says, wasn't Kendra saying that Holly was lying? She's just a liar. And she was also victim. I do remember her coming at Holly Madison when Holly was talking about her trauma involving Hugh Hefner. And that's weird. I think that all of these girls should be supportive of one another because all of them were exploited by this very creepy, very inappropriate, old man. and all the people around him. And it's just not okay. I heard that they were forced to have all sorts of like group play and just all sorts of other weird things, all of these crazy strict rules. Like they never actually really had access to money. They never actually really had the freedom to go out and all of that. Like it was just a lot of harsh rules. They were treated like literal children, and they were children, technically adults, but 18 is still a child. It's still too young to really grasp and know and understand a lot of things in life. And so for him to know that, especially at his age, and to play on that and to take advantage of girls this young is just so damn sick. I don't think he gets enough hate. I really don't. You know, people, do you remember when people would do the tanning back in the 2000s and they'd have that like Playboy stencil or whatever? People get the tattoos. They had the trucker hats with the people hung out with him, the Paris Hiltons and this and that, the Lindsays. But this guy should have been ostracized. What he was doing was so disgusting and creepy. Like, why do people like herald him? It's just so weird. Shemjim says it's not normal, but men don't care. Exactly. And that's the thing. The only thing that stops them from getting with people even younger than that is the law. They do not care. They're weird. They're creepy. There's something wrong with a lot of them, you know, and it's scary stuff. Sleepy says Kendra used him to catapult. And that's the thing. Like, why did these girls want to go that far to catapult themselves? And what is it about women and girls? Because I do think that that's something that should be discussed as well. There's something about women and girls. Is it the patriarchy? Is it something else? But like, why do you see them going to these extreme lengths for fame or money or whatever it might be? You know, like you see some of these other relationships that these girls get into with these weird, strange people who are way too old for them, or just way too, you know, like, really, girl, that, like, just in the name of money. There's one of these girls that I follow on TikTok. Her name is Adrian, and I actually like her. So this is not a diss on her. She's this pretty girl, and she was like 18, 19 when she met this guy, and he was like 50, 60. And, you know, she married that guy. And again, what is a 60-year-old marrying an 18-year-old? Like, and then she talks about how she did it because she wanted to like live like, you know, a trophy wife lifestyle. And you're like, why is this in young girls' heads? Like, you don't really see boys and men at 18 rushing, you know, but maybe it's because they're older women are not really attracted to young men or young boys, borderline men type things. I don't know, but honestly, it's a very scary, sick, weird world, and it makes me sad. Theo says, I could not stand Kendra on the show. She was so obnoxious. She still is, but to a lesser degree. She had one of those laughs. Sort of a laugh. She reminded me of Beavis and Butthead with her laugh. Cherio says, Holly and Bridget have been spilling the tea on what went down behind the scenes of Girls Next Door on their podcast. It's very, I'm going to have to dig into that podcast. I am, because again, I used to kind of dabble in watching the Girls Next Door. I could only watch it when like my parents and everybody was asleep or something. So I didn't get to like really watch it like that. So it's going to be really interesting to tune into that podcast. So thank you for mentioning that. Leola says Kendra used to sneak out also. Yeah, they had a curfew. I do remember her talking about that too. Oh my God, really, really sad stuff. I really hope that we can start educating young girls and, you know, more especially men, because at the end of the day, they're young. These are teenagers. These are barely legal. These are children, right? So I think it's the men that need to be held more responsible. Like, how do you see someone who's like barely legal and go, oh, I'm attracted to that? It's so mind boggling to me. Y'all know I'm 31. Even like the idea of being with a 25-year-old man, I feel like a creep. I can't, like, it's just, you know, they're adults and stuff, but to me, I'm like, what am I going to do with it? Like, they look so young. I don't get it. You're 80 years old. You're looking at this 18-year-old. You're like, wow, like what? Anyway, here's another really traumatic story that I've got to share with you guys. It is an OnlyFans model who goes by the name of Maria Kovalchuk. And when I first heard this story on TikTok, there's no way this is real. I've heard stories about Dubai and what the disgusting, disturbing things they do to people and the way they treat women over there, involved in these sorts of alleged, you know, porter potty parties or whatever, right? But the way in which this one was told and the state in which this woman was found is just absolutely shocking. So Maria is originally from Ukraine. She told her family and friends that she was off to a party with some model scouts, and that was the last that they had heard of her before she was discovered near a Dubai road with a lot of injuries, including a broken spine, broken arms, broken legs, and she is currently unable to even speak. They have had to perform multiple surgeries on her. Multiple surgeries. Whatever they did to her was so vicious. Again, the broken spine thing, leaving her by the side of the road as if she were just roadkill or something like that. All of that is just so insane. How do you treat anybody like this? Again, I've heard about these Dubai like weird parties that like sometimes people, these Instagram models or OF models or whatever get into, but I just have never, ever, ever, ever heard of somebody being treated that way. Just the idea of this is so horrific. How, sometimes when you're involved in the news and this and that, and you're like constantly on the lookout for stories, like you really do see the worst of humanity. Just every time you think there's a limit to how badly people could treat people, they show you a new level, right? And just, if you're going to treat someone this badly, how do you just let them suffer? So like, who knows how long she was out there on that road, right? Everything is broken, including your spine, your arm, your leg, something is going on to where you're not able to speak. Maybe your jaw is broken. I don't know. Like, how do you leave somebody like that? She's probably even starving. She was probably even dehydrated. She was just everything. How many cars went by and didn't stop for her? There's just so many things that run through your mind when you think about the story. Razan says, not surprised Kendra denied Holly and Bridget's claims. It's par for the course in these circles. And there's such like a competitive vibe with those girl next door people, right? Sorry, you guys. I think there's a lag between me talking about the Dubai story and the other story as well. But the Maria story, honestly, my heart is with her. My thoughts and prayers. And a lot of the comments that I saw in the TikTok videos and in the People magazine videos about it are people kind of acting like she deserved it because she was an OF model or an Instagram model or whatever it might have been. But that's not the case. Listen, again, I know about these porta potty parties, whatever. If you go into these parties and you know it and this is something you're okay with, that's one thing. But to do this to somebody, to just essentially just torture them and leave them to suffer to death is just insane. I don't think they expected her to survive. I think they wanted her to die a slow and painful, agonizing death. And that is just insane to me. What could she have done to anybody to deserve this? Like nothing, right? And so people are saying that she actually never showed, well, the people who are defending themselves, including the agent that she said that she was supposed to be partying with, are saying, no, she wasn't. She never came to the party. I don't know what she's talking about. She fell off of like a ladder or something at a construction site. The story is just not adding up. It's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly weird, you guys. Again, take good care of yourselves. Be careful. Warn your friends. I got to tell you, I have a friend and I had a friend. She's the one who said that really weird stuff about how about Palestinian people and Muslim people in general, where I said, oh, I cannot be friends with that. That's some very scary, disturbing, attitude to hold about people from a different religion or race or culture, right? So she was a very dangerous person in the way that she lived and stuff. So she's been here in France since before myself, actually. She's been here for 7-8 years. And she still doesn't speak a word of French, right? And so I remember her telling me the story about how she was outside of the airport smoking, and then she was getting ready to call her Uber, and then this guy came up to her and offered her a ride to her apartment. And then he said that he was a prince of Saudi Arabia or something like that. And so she accepted the ride because he had a really nice car. It was some kind of I don't know if it's a Rolls Royce or something, something along that level. And so she got in the car for that reason. And I was like, girl, are you sure? And so she would go to the south of France and she would invite me to go with her, but she would go onto boats with people that she didn't know and whatnot. And I'd be like, girl, I can't travel with you. This gives me a lot of anxiety. The idea of going with someone who has no survival instinct, and especially when it comes to going on boats with people you do not know. Can you imagine? They could throw you off that boat and say you drowned, or they could go as far as they want where nobody knows who the water belongs to. So nobody is going to claim responsibility for whatever happens to you there. Be very careful. flossing with fancy bags or trips or this or is not worth your dignity, is not worth your health, is not worth your safety. Be very, very careful. Now back in the story of Maria Kovalchuk, I really, really hope she makes a recovery and that she is able to identify the people who did this to her and that they will be brought to justice. Right now, the Dubai police are refusing to cooperate. Surprise, surprise. But I really do hope that justice is served for her and that this is a message, shows other girls, women, ladies, not to go down this route. Be very careful. Don't just go off with random men you don't know, especially men claiming to be photographers, agents, royalty, celebrity, millionaires, whatever. They know that a lot of people, women especially, lose all sense when those things are mentioned, right? And it's just too easy. There's so many fake people, so many bad people who want the worst for you. Be very careful. So sorry to Maria and her family, and I really hope that she is able to recover. You guys, I do want to get into the Porsha story as well. I got 2 more stories before I gotta go to the gym, y'all. I took a week off and now I had to go back. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the movies. We're having a promo, €5 movies. So I'm going to go see this movie. I forgot what it's called. I'll tell you guys about it tomorrow. I'm going to go see this movie after the gym. Porsha, do y'all remember how she fell out with her bestie, Shamia? Well, after the fallout, she posted on her Instagram a photo of herself and a girl named Britt from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16. And you guys, one thing that I found really disturbing about that is that Shamia just finished doing an interview with Entertainment Tonight talking about how Britt said some very, very derogatory things about Shamia's daughter, J.LO. Shamia's daughter, J.LO, was born with all sorts of health complications. So the idea that Britt could have said something disparaging about a child already, but then a child who has been suffering from health complications and will be suffering from health complications for her whole life is just insane. It's disgusting. And again, this is behavior that should be ostracized. I would never speak to anybody who would do something like this to somebody, right? But the fact that Porsha is not only her friend, but is purposely making the decision to post a photo of herself with this girl who allegedly did that, sort of as a big FU to her supposed friend Shamia, to me, this would be unforgivable. We would never be able to go back from this, especially given all of the little things that Porsha has said and done over the years to prove that she is not a true friend to Shamia. Again, she refused to go to Shamia's wedding, and then she refused to help Shamia shut down the rumors that Phaedra was spreading that Shamia and Candy were hooking up and all sorts of other things. She showed up 3 hours late to Shamia's birthday. She's not helping promote Shamia's music. The girl is jealous of Shamia at the end of the day. And now linking up with someone who allegedly said some terrible things about Shamia's daughter is just, wow. I've been telling y'all, Porsha is trash. She plays the whole ditzy, I don't know any better, I'm just a 45-year-old little girl, act really well, but she's not a good person, and she knows damn well what she's doing. Len says, Portia's the worst person ever. I hope Shamia never forgives her. I agree. She's terrible, and I can't stand how charmed people are by her. Summer Breeze says she was covering the war over. Oh, this is the story about the Egypt one. Okay, I've bookmarked you guys' comments about the other stories that are similar, and I'm going to go back to them. Summer Breeze, and then I saw that, who else said something about that? I saw that Houston Rose. So Acacia also said something as well. That messy beat, not surprised, right, Luz? Porsha proving everyone right about her character, period. Joy says, and she wonders why she never gets any loyalty. When she was crying about that, I said, girl, and the way she was going in on Drew, saying she's no good, she's dirty, she's conniving. I'm like, Porsha, put that mirror up, because you were talking to yourself after what you did to Fallon. Steph says, ain't no going back. Friendship is canceled 100%. Allie says, Portia's too old to be acting this clueless. Exactly. I don't understand why people still fall for it. Toni Braxton. So we're going to do the Toni Braxton story. Sorry to rush y'all. I got to get ready to head out of here so I can make it to my movie. We're going to do the Toni Braxton story. It's really quick. I just wanted to share some pictures with you so we can end on a good note. However, we will not be ending on a good note because there are some scary stories y'all want to tell me about. So we're going to talk about those afterwards. However, congratulations to Toni Braxton. She's officially got a college graduate on her hands. Her son Diesel just graduated from university. Look how absolutely fabulous she and her ex Carrie were showing up to his ceremony. Look how big he's gotten as well. Congratulations. No, this is not Diesel. This is Jeans. Denim. Congratulations, Denim. I really cannot wait to see what you do with your future. Now, you guys, let's get into some of your comments. And can I just tell you guys something? I really enjoy talking to you. And I get the vibe that the morning report should be a bit longer. So I'm toying around with a concept because I want to start dropping like the mic for you guys to speak. You guys don't have to show up on camera if you don't want to, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about certain things. So I'm thinking of adding like a segment, maybe it's like 10 to 15 minutes long, depending on how many of you guys want to participate from day to day. And you guys just chime in. So, the stories I'm about to pull up from you guys of like other similar stories, like I would like to like hear you guys tell me, what you think about these things and whatnot. So just an FYI, that is coming. I want to hear you guys' voices and know what y'all are thinking about these things, okay? So Acacia says, did you hear about the 3 girls from Houston that almost got kidnapped in Colombia? I did see that girl. She looked shaken up. I saw her on TikTok recounting her story, and it actually reminds me of like a Vegas story I have. My friends and I think we almost got trafficked in Vegas. I think I've told you guys about this story in the past though, but yeah, it was a very similar story, like getting into a car that we thought was our Uber, but it was not our Uber. Yeah, not a good time. You got to be really, really, really careful. Really. Summer Breeze says, did you see the story of the woman reporter in Egypt? She was covering the war over in the Middle East, and the power went out, and you just hear all the men. Oh Lord, all the men in the crowd saying they wanted to see her naked. Her guide rushed her out to safety. That's scary. For some reason, that reminds me of something that happened in India. I remember this woman and her husband. They went on vacation in India. And like just a bunch of like guys, it was bad. It was bad. So honestly, these stories make me so sad. It's really hard to navigate this world as a woman, and it's unfair. Farrah says, always stay with your friends, especially when you're out of the country. Exactly. And make sure you only travel with friends who have sense, because some friends can get you deleted. Some people are not smart. Some people are just, playing Russian roulette with life, for the sake of like having a cool, fun, crazy story to tell. And, you should not be traveling with those sorts of people. She just says, my friend did the same. She got a ride for us in Colombia from a stranger on night 1. I didn't speak to her the rest of the trip. Good for you. You got to be really, really careful with those types of friends. Be careful, you guys. Sometimes it's your friends that you got to look out for, Cynthia says, I watched Adolescence too, and I felt it needed more episodes. I just recommended that to my sister because she's got a son. And so I think you can never be too safe when it comes to boys, right? And so she says it's a really fantastic show. And of course, because I recommended it, it's on my list of things to watch. So I'm definitely going to be tuning in for that too. And yes, AG starting the week off right. I'm so excited. Jaleesa, you had said earlier about Tamar that she's a problem. I remember everyone blaming the girls on the reel. Exactly. And I used to be so naive to Tamar. I thought like that other people were the problem, but no, it's definitely her. There's something going on with her. Like she's not right. She's not. So again, congratulations to Towanda Braxton. And you know what, Luz? She said that it was in Europe. She's like, you guys wouldn't understand the names I gave my kids. They're like European names. I've been here 5 years, girl. I have never heard of a diesel. I have never heard of a denim. I don't know what country she's talking about, but I have never seen that. I'm really happy to see that you guys are looking forward to the Drop the Mic segments, okay? So get ready, you guys. I am so looking forward to hearing y'all's opinions. So stay tuned for that. I was actually, before I started streaming today, I was like on Canva playing around with like the timer and stuff, because like it's got to keep a timer and whatnot to make sure that everybody is able to have a say. So I think we'll start with channel members and then trickle it out as well. Okay. Keisha says the only reason the girls got out of the situation is because they stuck together. Yup. Honestly. And that's what you need, right? Like imagine if one of them was like a pick me or like a dummy who's like, oh no, guys, you're overreacting. It would have been game over. No, I haven't watched it, Milan, but I have heard about it. And another one I need to watch is White Lotus as well. Diesel's, oh, is it? Ramster. Here I was thinking like a lot of humans were walking around named Diesel. She's like, no, for dogs. That reminds me. I was at this place called Jimmy Farley. It's like a glasses boutique with my friends yesterday. And this girl, she had a dog. It was named Riker. She's like, my dog, I was like, oh, like, ton chien, il est adorable, il s'appelle comment? Like, your dog is beautiful. What's his name? And she's like, oh, Riker. I was like, what? Riker? Like the prison? She's like, what? I was like, oh, she didn't know. I feel so rude. But yeah. And it's funny. I actually have a friend. Well, not a friend. This girl I used to work with back in my corporate era. and her nephew was named Riker, and they were from California, so they knew that they were naming it after a prison. I said, okay. And she hated it. She's like, I told my sister not to pick that name. Have you guys ever had that? You know, when you have like a family member, you know, a sibling who's like, you know, thinking of names out loud for their kid. And then like, you want to bite your tongue because it's their decision or whatever, of course. But then there's one name where you're like, absolutely freaking not. I'm sorry. I'm opening up my mouth. You are not naming my niece or nephew that. I had that with my sister. There was one name. And I'm nervous to say it because in case somebody else like has this name or chose this name, but there was this one name where I was like, absolutely freaking not. Cause you know, you got to think about like what kids are going to make fun of it. Right. So I'm like, look, they will call him this, that, the other, do not use this name. So I'm happy with the name she chose. She chose a nice, beautiful, classic, elegant name. So thank God. This was last night's episode of The White Lotus was a wild ride. You're making me so jealous. I need to catch up on that. Oh Lord. So there you go. More diesel dogs. But listen, good luck to Tony. And again, congratulations to her son, Denim. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for another morning report. And thank you guys for all of your compliments. You guys are always so nice. I gotta be honest, when I first started like wearing my hair and like I cut it, I was like so nervous. I was like, oh my God. But you guys have been so nice and like, you know, putting me at ease. So I'm feeling like good. So thank you guys for that. I am off to the gym. Then I'm off to the movies and I will catch you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another morning report. If you enjoyed today's episodes, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you enjoy my videos and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't already. Okay. Bye guys. Take care.